One morning, Will Cwac was fast asleep and dreaming about a bowl of snails. Martha, his mother, came to wake him.
Oh, you clumsy Cwac. Get dressed at once and be quick about it. Then come and have your breakfast. Oh, tut, 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 tut.
Will dressed quickly and went down to the kitchen. He swallowed his wasp porridge before anyone could say, M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I spells Mississippi.
Finished, Mom!
Now, Will, I want you to go down to Mr. Puw-The-Shop shop to get a dozen dried snails and a bottle of green caterpillar sauce. Here you are. There's a purse with some money inside. Oh, and you can keep a penny for yourself.
Oh, thanks, Mom!
Oh!
And off he went like lightning. As he came to Evan's place, he met his friends. "Hey, Will, where are you going?" said Shawnee. "Yes, where?" said Hugh.
To the shop, and there's a penny in it for me. Oh, great, a penny,
said Dick. "Thanks a lot," said Hugh. Then Shawnee threw Will's purse up into the air.
Don't worry, Will. We've got pennies, too.
"Then let's all go," said Hugh. So off they went.
Morning, children,
smiled Mr. Puw.
A penny worth of the yellow sweets on the top shelf, please,
said Even. Mr. Puw hated climbing ladders, but business is business, so up he went. Then he weighed a pennyworth of sweets and gave them to Even. After putting the bottle back on the shelf, Mr. Puw asked,
Who's next?
Me, said Hugh. Can I have a pennyworth of the yellow sweets too, please?
Mr. Puw stared at him, but didn't say a word, and fetched the bottle and gave Hugh a pennyworth too. Then, before climbing the ladder again, he asked,
Does anyone else want a pennyworth of the yellow sweets?
No one said a word, so slowly and painfully he put the bottle away once again.
Who's next?
Mr. Puw, I only want a halfpenny worth of yellow sweets.
Mr. Puw went white, then pink, then red, and climbed up the ladder once again. But then Will realized that he really wanted snail toffee.
Excuse me, I don't want the yellow ones, please, can I?
But before he could finish, there came a strange noise from Mr. Puw.
Wait till I get hold of you. I'll give you a halfpenny worth.
Everyone had disappeared by the time Mr. Puw had struggled to his feet. Of course, Will's mom gave him a telling off, but he'd had a share of sweets from Hugh, and that was better than nothing, wasn't it?
Quack. Good night.
One morning, Will Cwac woke up with the feeling that today was going to be a very special day. He thought for a moment and then jumped up.
Whee! Hooray!
Today was his birthday. He hurried into his clothes and went downstairs.
Hello! How are you today?
He'd hoped there would be a present, a bike like Shawnee's with drop handlebars. But there was no sign of anyone, only a note that said, "Dear little Cwac, gone to town to do some shopping. Mom and Dad."
Cwac!
It was clear they had all forgotten his birthday. He was so disappointed that he couldn't touch his wasp porridge. 2 teardrops rolled down his beak, and he licked them without thinking. Then there came a thump on the back door.
Yoo-hoo! Hello, Will! Hello, boys. Mom and Dad have gone to town.
"I know," said Dick.
I saw them, and your dad said he was going to buy a... Ow! Ow! To buy a bow wow?
Asked Will in surprise.
Hey, Will,
Said Hugh, trying to attract Will's attention while the others passed a birthday cake behind their backs.
don't you want your porridge, don't you?
Well...
Will began, but before he could say more, Hugh gulped it down. At the same time, Even hid the cake in the wash tub and put the lid on.
How about coming over to my place this afternoon about 3:30?
Asked Shawnee. "Fine," they all said, and away they went. As Will watched them go, he remembered that Hugh had eaten his porridge and that he was starving, so he went out to look for snails. And before long, he found 2 fat ones in a muddy puddle. At last it was 3 o'clock, and Will set off for Shawnee's place. But when he arrived, his mother said,
Shawnee's just gone to Dick's place.
"Thank you," said Will, and set off immediately without seeing the smile on her face. But when he reached Dick's place, what did he see but a note with Will on it, saying, "Tired of waiting for you, come to Hugh's place."
Quack!
Oh! When he reached Hugh's place, there was another note that said, "Gone to Will's house," and Will started off home again, feeling a very tired little duck. At last he reached home, quite exhausted, but there was no sign of anyone. He sat on the doorstep, feeling very lonely, leaned backwards, and fell head over heels into the kitchen.
Happy birthday, little Cwac.
And when he looked up, everybody was there, and he realized they'd all played a trick on him. They all had presents for him, even a new bike from his dad and mom.
Bike! Great snails! Quack!
And then it was time for the tea party, with a spider cake covered with snail cream. When he went to bed that night, Will was quite sure it had been the best birthday he'd ever had after all.
Quack!
One morning, Will was awoken by his father's voice.
Hey there, Will, come on down, do you hear? You'll be late.
Quack. All right, Dad, answered Will, sleepily opening one eye. Late. Late for what, he thought. Quack! School! I'll be late for school, and I'll be punished. Quack! He dashed into his clothes and hurried downstairs as fast as he could.
Ah, here you are, Will, said Martha. Quack! Do you know what time it is? 9:15.
9:15? Quack! I'll be late for school.
Hey, what about your breakfast? Said Martha. But too late. Will had hot-footed out of the door.
Heavens above, my feet.
Goodness gracious, look at my floor. There's water and flowers everywhere. Then Martha and Humphrey looked at each other and burst out laughing. Late for school. Without breakfast. But Will by now was far away and hadn't heard any of this. Before long, he had passed where Ivan lived, and Owie Policeman's house, Mr. Puw-The-Shop's shop, and Mari Pickle's cottage. And by then he knew he didn't have very far to go, although he had lost his breath twice over. Will hated arriving late at school, and when he saw that there was nobody else going to school, he turned pale.
Quack! I must be very late. And when he saw that the yard was empty, he said, Quack! I must be terribly late. And he ran to the gate. Quack! Great snails! Oh, the gate's locked. Oh, they're only locked on the weekend. His father must have made a mistake and had woken him early without realizing it was Saturday. But to be quite sure, he decided to call in Mr. Puw-The-Shop's shop to ask what day it was.
What are you trying to do? Make a fool of me? I know exactly what day it is. Go home and ask your dad if you want to know anything.
Quack! And away he went like lightning. But who was passing the shop at the time but Owie Policeman?
What is the meaning of this?
Quack! I'm sorry, Mr. Owie Policeman. I didn't see you. Please, can you tell me, is it Saturday today?
You, of all people, should know what today is, shouldn't you?
Quack! Saturday, is it?
Saturday? Why do you want to know?
Because school is closed, but Dad didn't remember.
Oh, look, my boy. Go home and say well done to your father for me.
Well, you know, Will was more confused than ever now. But when he came to the kitchen, there was no one there, only a note. All it said was that Will was to look in the calendar. And when he looked, he gave a big quack as Humphrey and Martha came in from the parlor.
What? Back from school already, Will?
Quack! I'm an April Fool, aren't I?
Yes, indeed, Will. And Will had to laugh, too.
That night, to make up for playing an April Fool joke on him, Humphrey gave Will a huge portion of worm cake in bed. Quack! One morning, Will Cwac was making a fishing rod with an empty spool and a bent nail. His mother called to him.
Hey, little Cwac, come here, will you?
Quack! All right, Mom,
Said Will, and he hid the rod under the bed. Martha had told him never to go near the mill pond, ever since the time the boys had got soaked there playing leapfrog, and if she were to see the fishing rod, she'd be sure to have hysterics.
Oh, little Cwac,
Said Martha.
I want you to go on an errand to Mari Pickle's house at once.
Will's face fell.
Quack! Do I have to?
He asked.
I've promised to meet the boys.
Oh, tut-tut,
Said Martha.
you'll have plenty of time after doing the errand, and you'll have something nice to eat afterwards.
Will cheered up on hearing this, and after she'd given him the message, he rushed out of the house. Now, who happened to be coming to meet him on the way but all his friends, and they all had a fishing rod and a net each.
Gobble, gobble, Will.
Said Even.
Where's your rod? Quack! Under the bed. I've got to go on an errand to the village, but I won't be long. You go on, and I'll come after you.
And Will hurried off to the village, running past Mr. Puw-The-Shop's shop, turning the corner by Owie Policeman's house, then full speed to Mari Pickle's cottage.
Quack! Mari Pickles, Mom wants you to come to tea this afternoon, and she's going to make you snail cake if you'll come. Will you come?
Well, yes, of course I'll come. Thank you very much. Come in and have a piece of...
But Will had already gone, almost running into Owie Policeman.
What?
Gasped Owie, but by the time he recovered, Will was disappearing into the distance. When he got home, Martha was carrying out the big wash tub.
Mom, Mari Pickle says thank you. She's coming this afternoon.
Well done, Will. There's a piece of worm cake on the table for you for being a good boy.
Thanks, Mom.
And he hurried upstairs to get the fishing rod. But how could he get out of the house without his mother knowing? As he was wondering what to do, a voice called,
Will, gobble, gobble. Are you coming with us or not?
Quack! Yes!
and before anyone could say another word, he took hold of the fishing rod and jumped out through the window.
Hey, stop!
Shouted Shawnee, but it was too late. Into the wash tub he plunged.
Quack!
And then he shut his mouth in case more soap should go down his throat. When Martha saw Will, she almost had a fit.
Oh, Will, you naughty little quack. What are you doing there?
And she called his father to come at once to wash him under the pump.
Heavens above!
Said Humfra when he saw Will covered in soap. And he pumped and pumped until Will was even wetter than before. Then Martha took him into the kitchen, dried him, gave him a soup spoonful of soft soap, lamp oil, and black soot, and sent him to bed for the rest of the day in case he should catch cold. Poor Will. He didn't go fishing that morning after all.
Quack!
was sleeping late as usual, he was awoken by the voices of his friends.
Gobble, gobble, Will. You aren't still in bed?
Called Even.
Get up, lazy bones, called Hugh, or we'll go without you.
Go? Where?
To play football in the big field, answered Shawnee.
Football? Yes, answered Dick. I brought a ball with me. I'll be with you in a minute.
Will put on the new sweater he'd had the previous Saturday from his mother and rushed downstairs.
Hello, little Cwac. Come and have your porridge.
Oh, Cwac, Mom, I haven't time. The boys are waiting.
Oh, no. Eat your wasp porridge now, or it's back to bed with you.
Quack. All right.
Will lifted the bowl to his mouth.
Please, can I go now, please? Thank you, bye.
All right. But don't wet your feet, nor tear your new sweater, nor climb trees.
But Will had run out of the door.
Oh! Tut, tut, what a boy! Oh!
He didn't take long to catch up with his friends, and they started to play. One in goal, and the others taking their turn to shoot, after they'd all taken off a jacket or sweater and put them down to make the goalposts. After a while, they decided to play 2 against 2, Shawnee and Will against Dick and Even, and Hugh as referee. It was fun, especially when Will ran the ball between Even's thin legs.
Hey, what's that?
Suddenly, they heard an awful, terrible, frightening, fearful noise.
Great snails! A bull!
Shouted Shawnee.
Oh, help! Gobble, gobble, quack! Quack, what'll we do?
Cried Dick. Will shouted, "Run for the hedge, everybody!" And that's what they did, and jumped into the middle of the bramble bushes, all except Will. He was walking towards the bull, carrying the ball in his hands. The bull stopped, amazed to see Will doing such a crazy thing. Then it bellowed, put its head forward, and charged.
So long, pal!
Cried Shawnee.
Bye-bye, dear Will.
Cried Dick and the others. And then,
Whoa! Hooray!
and well done, Will! As they saw Will bounce the ball in the bull's face and run low between its legs. Then he leapt straight into the prickly bramble hedge, leaving the bull looking totally surprised.
Good for you, Will. Gobble, gobble.
And then, oh! As he saw the bull trampling the clothes and the ball stuck like a bubble on one of its horns. A tear came to Dick's eye when he saw the ball, but they all promised to help towards buying another one for him. Of course, Will had to allow Martha to pull the thorns out,
Oh, quack! Oh, ah.
but she didn't give him a hiding for ruining his sweater, nor for going in the bramble bushes, when she heard how he had saved his friends by being a very brave little quack. And he had a plate full of worm cake in bed that night as a reward.
Quack!
Will was sleeping late as usual, Humphrey came into his room.
Hey, little Will, wake up, my boy.
Cwac, what?
Well, come down to the kitchen to help me. Your mother's feeling ill and she's staying in bed this morning.
Ew.
Well, yes, she has a heavy cold.
Will got dressed quickly. As he went downstairs, he heard a loud
Achoo!
from his mother's room. Things went well at first. It was easy enough to cut the bread and put on the fly jam. They soon ate it all, and Will was delighted because his father Humphrey allowed him to put twice as much jam on his bread as his mother did. Things went fairly well when they washed the dishes, too. He only broke 1 saucer and 2 cups when he heard a mighty achoo coming downstairs. But then it was time for Humphrey to go out to the farm, leaving Will in charge of the kitchen on his own. Will looked around and decided to do what his mother usually did. First, he brushed the floor. Then he went out to the garden to gather snails for lunch and put them in a bowl on the sink. Then he decided to do the washing. But it was tiring, boring work, and he was very glad when he heard voices calling from the yard.
Oh, hello, boys.
Hello, Will. What are you doing? Asked Shawnee.
Helping Mom. She's ill in bed.
Gobble, gobble, Will, said Even. Why don't we all help you?
Cwac, yes.
They all said.
Well, thanks.
And in a jiffy, they'd all rolled up their sleeves and were rubbing like mad in the middle of the soap suds. Well, of course, I hardly need to tell you what was bound to happen sooner or later. As Hugh grabbed the soap, it slipped and flew across the tub, straight into Will's mouth.
Oh, Cwac! Great snails, Will! You've swallowed the soap! Oh, Cwac! It's not a laughing matter! Of course not. What can we do?
Shawnee told Will to open his mouth, and then he thumped Will on the back, but only more suds came out. Then Even had an idea. The boys grabbed Will and lifted him up and held him upside down over the tub and shook him until his sides churned.
Out with it, Will! 1, 2, 3, out!
Will spat the soap out with a
Quack!
hooray! Hooray! But unfortunately, who came through the door at that moment but Martha, who had dressed hastily on hearing all the palaver.
Hey, you cruel boys! What are you doing to our Will? Let him go at once!
And of course, that's exactly what they did. And Will plunged into the tub with a mighty splash. Well, there was such a commotion then.
Humphrey, come here at once!
And all the boys were marched out by Humphrey and made to stand in a row and wait their turn to go under the pump. But later, when Martha realized that they'd only been trying to help Will, she forgave them everything and called them into the house to have something warm to drink and a large piece each of fly cake with snail cream over it. And you know what? In the middle of the excitement, Martha's cold had completely gone. Wasn't that good news? And when Will went to sleep that night, there was a big smile on his face as he remembered his friends soaked to the skin.
Quack.
One morning, Will was dreaming that Owie Policeman and Mr. Puw-The-Shop were chasing after him.
Quack! Oh, don't hit me! Don't hit me! Quack!
Hit you, little quack, said his mother. You're dreaming again.
Dreaming? Quack! Oh, only dreaming.
Will got dressed quickly. It was such a nice day. He would go to see his friends on his new bike. Down he went to the kitchen, half flying, half running as usual, to have his breakfast. He swallowed the wasp porridge, snatched up his cap, and bolted for the door. A bag of white flour fell like a cloud over Humphrey's head.
Heavens above!
Will got his bike from the shed quickly, and off he went like the wind. He soon reached Shawnee's house. Who was coming out of the house but all the boys? And as it happened, Shawnee had brought his bike out too.
Hey, Gobble Gobble,
Said Even.
what about having a race between you and Shawnee?
Oh, yes, a race. Well, all right.
Said Will. Okay, said Shawnee.
First to the school and back, okay? Ready, set, go!
Said Hugh. Everyone saw that Will's legs could pedal faster than Shawnee's, but Shawnee's legs were stronger, so the two were equal, and indeed one was on the other's tail all the way down to the village, and that's when the trouble started. First of all, who happened to be coming out of his house with his bike but Owie Policeman?
Hey, look out!
Owie Policeman saw them coming straight for him, threw the bike one way, and jumped over the gate. Now who happened to be coming out of his shop carrying a box of tomatoes but Mr. Puw-The-Shop? Will went past on one side and Shawnee flew past on the other. Mr. Puw-The-Shop went head over heels over the tomato box.
Oh, wait till I get hold of you.
But Will and Shawnee had turned the corner and were pedaling as fast as they could towards the school. Then they turned and began to pedal back. As they turned the corner, they saw Mr. Puw slowly getting out of the mess.
There they are! Stop them!
But in his struggle to catch them, he slipped on a tomato. Laughed the two as they pedaled onwards. But then they heard the sound of a whistle, and there was Owie Policeman getting onto his bike. Heavens, Will! Pedal for your life! Away they went like two streaks of lightning. They passed the boys, then down the hill towards Will's home, and all the time, Owie Policeman was getting nearer behind them.
We'll go to prison,
Said Shawnee.
Quack, yes.
Answered Will. Then as they reached the farmyard, the two swerved round a big puddle, but Owie Policeman didn't notice it. The next second, Will and Shawnee heard a strange crashing sound, and Owie Policeman moaning in pain. He had landed up to his ears in the mud.
You boys for this.
Humphrey had to help Owie Policeman to wash himself clean by pumping water over him. Then he was brought to the house to have a bowl of hot snail soup so as not to catch cold. Will and Shawnee had a stern warning from Owie Policeman for dangerous driving, and they had to promise never to do it again. Will was sent to bed that night without supper, but he couldn't help laughing quietly as he remembered Owie Policeman being washed under the pump.
Quack.
One morning, Will was very late getting up. He hurried into his clothes and raced down to the kitchen because he'd remembered that he'd arranged to meet his friends. He gulped down his wasp porridge.
I finished, Mom.
What did you say, Will?
Mom,
Great snails, you're hiccuping, Will.
hiccuping?
Well, yes, hiccuping. I've told you 100 times that you shouldn't gulp your porridge. That's what comes from being a greedy little quack.
Oh, what'll happen?
Oh, tut-tut, it's sure to pass before long, my boy. Here, take this piece of bread to chew. But eat it slowly, remember, and it should stop the hiccups.
Thanks, Mom, said Will. Bye-bye for now,
As he dashed through the door, a big ladle fell off its hook.
Heavens above!
Will got so frightened that he swallowed the piece of bread in one gulp, which made the hiccups worse. As he hurried towards the village, he gave a little jump now and then with each hiccup.
Oh, dear. This nasty hiccup, what'll I do? Oh.
But the hiccuping didn't stop all the way to the village. When Owie policeman heard, he fell out of his hammock in the garden. When Mr. Puw heard, he fell off his ladder and landed in a large lump of butter.
Oh, help! Oh, wait till I get hold of you!
When Will reached the schoolyard, his friends roared with laughter.
Oh, boys, don't laugh. What can I do to stop the hiccups?
Hold your head in a bucket of water,
Suggested Hugh.
Don't breathe for 2 hours.
Said Even with a wink.
Say, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Laughed Shawnee. The next second, Mr. Puw-The-Shop came down the street waving a huge brush.
Well, I'll give you a hi-ho.
Will ran round the yard shouting,
Quack! What'll I do?
but then a long howl came from the schoolhouse. The ugliest dog you ever saw leaped towards them with its mouth watering. Everyone was shouting for help, especially Mr. Puw, who thought the dog was going to have him for his dinner. Everyone managed to escape over the wall, only inches away from the big dog's jaws, but there was a large portion of Mr. Pugh's pants between the dog's teeth.
Gobble, gobble. Who'd have thought the school teacher would keep such a beast?
Said Even.
Oh, honk, yes, indeed. Who would have thought it?
Said Hugh.
Well, I'm glad. Quack! Will, why do you say that?
Asked Dick.
Because I've got rid of my hiccups thanks to that dog.
They all laughed as they saw Mr. Puw-The-Shop going home, trying to hide the hole in his pants. When Will told the story to Martha, she gave him a piece of spider cake. But he took care to eat it slowly, just in case. When Will went to bed that night, the bed bounced now and again. Not because of hiccups, but because Will was bouncing with laughter as he remembered Mr. Pugh's pants. Good night.
Quack.
One morning, Will was dreaming of a large bowl of snails, and coming towards him, the biggest snail you ever saw. Will's tongue stuck to the roof of his mouth in fear. The snail came nearer and nearer with its mouth open until a cold sweat broke out on Will's brow. It stretched its horns around Will's neck and shouted,
Will! Will! Eating snails, is it?
"Quack! I won't eat snails again, I promise. Quack!"
Eating snails? What's the matter, little Will?
He knew that voice, the voice of Martha, his mother.
Dreaming again, my boy.
Quack! Yes, Mom.
And he gave her a big kiss.
Oh, go on with you. Your breakfast is ready and your friends are waiting for you.
In a jiffy, Will was out of bed and changing his clothes and half flying, half running downstairs to the kitchen.
Hey, little Quack, eat your breakfast.
Will swallowed his wasp porridge and hurried out.
Thanks, Mom. Bye. Morning, Dad.
Oh, you naughty boy. Oh, bad boy, Will. Oh.
When Will looked through the window and saw his father covered with pepper, he decided it was time to disappear.
Hello, boys. Follow me to the woods.
When they'd gone far enough, Dick said,
Oh, stop, Will. I'm tired out.
and Hugh said,
Hey, Will, what was that strange noise from your house?
Oh, that was Dad sneezing because I knocked the pepper pot all over him.
Oh, gobble, gobble, Will. Pepper. Oh, Will. Oh, you'll get a hiding.
And go to bed without supper. Quack. Do you think so, boys?
"Oh, yes, of course," said Shawnee, and winked at Even.
Why, sure, gobble, gobble, said Even. Whoa, what's that terrible sound?
What sound?
I sound like sneezing, gobble, gobble, coming nearer and nearer.
Great snails! It's my dad! Hide me quick!
"Hurry, let's jump on him," shouted Shawnee. And in a twinkling, they all leaped on Will and sat on him until he was out of sight. And then they all heard a real
Shoo!
as Shawnee's tail tickled Will's nose. When Will saw the others laughing, he realized that they'd tricked him again, and he began to laugh too. But oh dear, the laughter didn't last long, because when Will sneezed, he'd thrown Shawnee against a nest of bees, who came out angrily and made a beeline for Will and the others. They all howled as they fled down the path with the bees after them.
Gobble, gobble. Ouch!
They went down into the yard and dived into Martha's wash tub full of soapy water. When Martha came to see the commotion, she had to shut the door quickly, and all she and Humphrey could do was to look through the window. At last, the bees grew tired and flew back to the woods, and then Martha and Humphrey came out to the yard. But there was such a miserable look on the 5 boys that Humphrey simply couldn't give them a hiding. And they all had to stand under the pump and be washed clean. Then Martha gave them a dose of medicine. And when Will went to bed that night, he swore that he'd look carefully next time before slamming the door.
Quack.
morning, when Will was sleeping as usual, Martha, his mother, hurried into the bedroom.
Will! Will! Wake up!
Quack, Mom. I'm tired. Quack.
That's what comes of going to bed late. Well, I'm going to be very busy today, and I want you to go on an errand to Mr. Puw-The-Shop shop.
Oh, Quack. Must I?
Well, yes. If you do this for me, I'll give you something to eat.
What?
Pancakes.
Quack! Pancakes? Do you mean my favorite snail cream pancakes?
Yes, Will.
In a jiffy, Will got up, dressed, rushed downstairs, and ate his breakfast like a good boy, and got his cap and the shopping bag.
Now then, Will, I want a bottle of snail cream, a can of dried worms, and a package of wasp porridge. Can you remember that?
Yes, a bottle of snail cream, dried worms, and wasp porridge.
Then he grabbed the shopping bag and the money and dashed out. The alarm clock fell on Humphrey's head. He was warming his tail at the time.
Heavens above! How time flies. Will, don't slam the door,
Said Humphrey. But Will had gone out of sight. Will went to Mr. Puw-The-Shop shop.
What do you want?
A bottle of snail cream, dried worms, and wasp porridge, please.
When he saw that Will was shopping for his mother and that he wouldn't need to climb the ladder, he was all smiles and gave him a piece of yellow toffee for being a good customer. When Will arrived home, his mother prepared the pancake mixture with the bottle of snail cream. But as it was too soon to make the pancakes, Martha went to have a little nap. Then Will's friends arrived.
Oh, what are you doing, Will?
Said Hugh.
Quack! Guarding the pancake mixture, of course.
Said Will.
Gobble, gobble, can we see? Lovely smell. Gobble, gobble.
Terrific.
Said Dick.
Wow! I love pancakes. I'm just dying for one.
So am I.
Then Shawnee said,
There's a lot of mixture here. I'm sure your mother could spare just one spoonful.
Will hadn't the heart to say no, so Shawnee put a spoonful into the frying pan. What a lovely smell! Terrific! Then it was time to toss the pancake, but Will tossed too hard and it landed upon Dick's bare head.
Oh, Quack! It's hot!
But the nearest thing to water was the pancake mixture, and Dick gave a huge jump and landed head first in it. What a mess! Everybody covered in mixture and sliding in pools of cold cream. When Martha came down, she almost had a fit. Then, of course, Martha took charge. Before long, all five were out in the yard under the pump, with Humphrey saying,
Heavens above, you naughty boys!
and they all had to run round the yard until they were dry, and then swallow a spoonful of Martha's medicine. And Will went to bed that night without any pancakes and without supper.
It's a collection of musical stories and warm-hearted adventures especially designed for the preschooler. Join Mr. Eppet and Clara the cow as they repaint the rainbow that once brightened their small town after it almost got washed away. Meet the Up and Down Man with mime artist Ben Benison as he explores the world of silent and whimsical humor. Let your imaginative powers go with Jungle Ted and the Lacy Button Poppers. Enter the enchanted house, where 3 charming occupants come to the aid of their friends when a little bit of magic is needed. A special and entertaining series for children ages 2 through 5. Playbox 1. Join that lovable mongrel, Rhubarb, and his pal Custard in 15 exciting adventures.
There's going to be a show today, the Rhubarb Show.
Preschoolers will enjoy this well-intentioned but somewhat crazy canine as he learns some lessons and makes some surprising and exciting discoveries.
We're going to make a film.
Shouted Rhubarb from the shed doorway.
Casting session in 10 minutes.
It's fun-packed and entertaining, especially for the 2 to 5-year-olds. Rhubarb.
Stuttering starfish, what a staggering storm. Can't remember a thing after that last great wave. Suppose I'm lucky to be alive.
It's the swashbuckling adventures of Captain Horatio Pugwash. Tom the cabin boy and the evil cutthroat Jake, along with a lovable band of villains aboard their pirate ship, the Black Pig.
Captain, the halyards is hooked up on the half deck, and the stern is stove with the starboard.
The sheets is a-shaking the shackles, Captain.
The capstan's caught up in the cockpit, Captain, and the scupper is scuppered. What do we do, Captain?
It's buccaneering fun on the high seas, especially designed for the preschooler. Captain Pugwash.